and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dadley Boyz of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete. A big quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review Dynamite. What do you make of last night's show, Sidge?
I thought it was the best one in weeks. I had a really good time with it. The big angle on a conceptual level and a logic level, I still have problems with. But on an emotional level, I thought they handled it magnificently last night. Yeah, mostly a really, really good time and a really good show. And what a perfect closing angle on so many different levels. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in.
Agree. A good experience. Like a really well-paced episode as well. When you've got these, like, some good ideas, and we talk about that, like, these pay-per-view cards always look great, but AEW was showing you that, like, selling the cards is just as important as actually promoting the matches themselves. This was a great way to exhibit that they still can. Like, one of the best Dynamites in ages, without there being that one killer moment that was like this didn't have an all-time Dynamite moment, but it was a 2-hour experience, one of the best in Yonks.
They got
Yonks.
They got straight into it. Wow, dang. Jon Moxley comes out, but he's jumped immediately by Jeff Cobb and Kyle Fletcher. Obviously, the tag match was opening the show. Washington's very own Bryan Danielson comes down to make the save, though, and in a bit of a harkening back, or looking forward, I suppose, to Anarchy in the Arena, then you've got Danielson's music playing as they're brawling.
I thought it was doubly inspired because you kind of need that injection of atmosphere, electricity, like on any Dynamite these days. So I thought that was a really, really inspired touch. Obviously, it's a preview of, get in Anarchy in the Arena soon. That's the best new gimmick match of the century.
Can you give us a couple of bars from Danielson's theme? Because I always liked it when you did that. When it was new.
Danielson?
Yeah. Do the lyrics.
I was born for greatness, greatness, great. I was born for greatness.
Always got that little bit of Jim Ross. I really like that. That's what he's kept around for.
Yeah.
He's like Mikey Rook as he's laying down vocals. Great work, Jim. See you tomorrow.
So they brawl for ages. Eventually the bell rings. And Jeff Cobb is going at it with Moxley. Eventually managed to get Mox into his corner. Kyle Fletcher comes in, but Moxley just no-sells the strikes and just batters him. Rakes the back, bites the forehead. Danielson flies off the top with a knee to Fletcher when he's hung up as well. But Fletcher backdrops Mox to the outside as we go to a break. When we come back, Moxley's in trouble, but he hits a bounce-back German suplex on Cobb and allowing Danielson to come in, hot tag to him. Fun stuff between Cobb and Danielson here that leads to the yes kicks. He low bridges Cobb to the outside, takes out Fletcher with a dive, but rolls back into a huge Jeff Cobb slam. Great to see him back in an AEW ring. Cobb misses the standing moonsault, but dodged a Busaiku knee, hit a spinning back suplex. Mox and Kyle Fletcher come in. Big shots. A King Kong lariat turns Kyle inside out. Cobb got caught with a cutter, but Fletcher managed to hit a Michinoku driver to get a 2 count. There's also a spinning tombstone on Moxley for a near fall. But as they go for the Doomsday device, Danielson cuts them off. Busaiku knee to Cobb, and Fletcher gets hit with the Moxley Death Rider for the 1-2-3.
I had a great time with this. Felt like a proper Dynamite opener of the action's hot. Your tone is set, the crowd's up. It just really allowed me to settle in. I think every single Dynamite should start with a match. That's just my personal opinion. I know maybe you could deviate from it a couple of times a year, but that's what the experience is. That's how the tone is set. I thought this was quietly important.
The blueprint to AEW, basically.
Indeed it is. Like, between the Danielson's music, that little sort of preview, Anarchy in the Arena, the action itself, just felt like the vibe was right from the jump. I will say, pretty inessential. It was an excuse to get Danielson in front of his home state crowd. Then he got, but to be fair, an inspired start to the show because he got that atmosphere clicking immediately. The tone was set, as I said. It didn't really need to happen in terms of storyline, but I think I needed this because Jon Moxley is like the good version of Chris Jericho, and that the guy is overexposed. He's been in it for ages. He's not at the top like he used to be, and people have manifested a vacation for him, and he's kind of on one but not at the same time. And the last time he was on Dynamite, he had that cursed but wasn't going anywhere match with Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah.
I needed a really good performance from Jon Moxley to restore my love for him, and I got it here, I think. There's a really, I've been begging for a tweak on, all right, you're chopping each other, and you are testing each other's resolve, and you don't want to quit. So it's the machismo chop battle. Like, one of my favorite things is when a wrestler can do something different, drawing from that limited sort of palette. Like, Tomohiro Ishii is the very, very best person to do that. Jon Moxley sort of evoked him here. That spot and Fletcher's got an awesome chop on him. Like, he's an animal of a young wrestler, and he's got an awesome chop on him as well. And Moxley just ate loads of them. They just walked to the other turnbuckle. It's like, go on then, do it again. I've been wanting a tweak on that machismo chop battle for quite some time. Moxley gave us it. Thought Fletcher was great here as well. That paradigm shift for the finish, I thought, he botched this. That looked absolutely disgusting, but ... in the best possible way.
Puts a guy over drilling him like that, doesn't
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I need to just basically jam your neck, like, badly. Obviously, very predictable outcome. There wasn't a great deal of drama in the match. So when there's no drama and you know who's going to win, the next best thing you can do is pull off this awesome counter, shift the momentum, and make you lose your mind and make you think, or rather feel in that moment, oh, hang on, this isn't quite going to go the way I just assumed it would. Only in the moment, of course. That Busaiku into the spinning back suplex from Cobb was just that to a T. I had a great, great time with this. I don't think it was a great match, but just a good vibe with some really killer action.
Yeah, you can't understate the importance of a good table setter for a pay-per-view, for a TV show, for anything, and that's one of the jobs of the opener that sometimes gets forgotten about. I think.
Especially on pay-per-view, it's a dead art on pay-per-view, like the Kurt Angle Rey Mysterio. Yeah, that should be the template.
That's it. Like, set the mood, and then it elevates and helps the rest of the show.
Yeah,
that's what this did. This had this. I would agree. The match wasn't a lot to write home about, but what it was, and it's only when you see one that you remember just how many matches aren't this now. Like, you know that wrestlers, because of course they have to, will get with an agent or a producer or whoever has that role in AEW and work out the things, the little bits of the story that need to get told within the body of the match in order to get the characters onto the next step. This felt like it happened without any of that pre-match construction. Of course, every match has to, but you want to watch sometimes these things that feel like call it in the ring, brother, fights, and we'll work all of it out. And that's what this had, that energy of something of like Moxley and Danielson only getting there as their entrance music was hitting. They're just straight out the car. It's like, what are we doing? Right, I'll go. And like
Moxley's got a history of that.
Indeed, yeah. Moxley especially brought that energy, and I think that's something that's been lacking. He looks different. I've noticed since he became IWGP champion, his body has changed slightly, and I just as
it's like if you had a haircut, he's had a haircut.
Maybe that's just it.
Yeah.
But like,
he's also got that swagger back about him again.
I think so.
I felt like that last night.
Yeah. Carrying something a little bit different, and
you know what's weird and a little bit heartbreaking is that New Japan's profile is so low right now that the Mox versus Shooter match has happened.
Yeah.
And it's like no one's really talking about it, and it wasn't this big thing.
Existed to set up a far worse match with Evil.
Yeah, it's sad that I thought when Mox and Shota eventually have that match again, the rematch from the Dominion 2019.
Yep.
You really thought it would be massive, and it just wasn't massive.
John Moxley's going to win the G1, then he drags him with him.
Yeah.
It's fun. That's carry this on or something.
I forgot large part of this match because seared into my brain is the bit immediately afterwards. Jon Moxley, they're celebrating. Danielson's soaking in the crowd. Moxley's up on the turnbuckle. Yay. You can just see
bit of Chad Gable here.
Someone come behind him. It's Konosuke Takeshita and just German suplex him out of the corner. The Don Callis family basically come in and beat down both of them. Claudio makes the save. They listen. We know they listen. Because what was the weapon you were talking about yesterday that Claudio had with him?
Like a rib on my expense.
A crowbar into Takeshita once again. Does the old title symbol.
Tell you what, that looks like it's happening at Double or Nothing. I don't need too many more additions to that card. No. If they can approach their best match together, Takeshita and Mox, it's going to be incredible. I think it's one of the most underrated in-ring sort of mini feuds in AEW history. They had one when was it? I think it was late 2022, where Mox bled all out of the shop, maybe on Rampage. It was unbelievable. I really look forward to revisiting that.
I love Takeshita.
Yeah.
Need more of him, man.
Yeah, this is it. I think at the moment I'm kind of like tempering my own excitement because I always feel like he exists right now for the Moxley match, which he will lose, and then it's back to nothing until he exists for the next thing that he will also lose. Like, the pairing is great. Nobody's doubting that, but I'm not necessarily convinced yet that, like, it's back on.
Yeah.
We're back when it comes to Takeshita. I never really feel that with him.
We get a nice video package highlighting all the stuff Swerve's been done since all the media appearances, etc., since he became world champion. Then we get a little previously in AEW with a beatdown from the Embassy turning on Swerve last week, and then the revenge he got on Collision, leading to what came later on. Instead of that, though, we got Adam Copeland coming out making his entrance, and as he's doing the to me on the stage, he's jumped. I need this. He's jumped by the House of Black, thrown down to the ring. Buddy Matthews hit a curb stomp. Brody King gets a load of chairs. Malachi Black comes in the ring. King and Matthews are holding Copeland in place. He's got the TNT title and a mic with him. He says he doesn't understand Copeland's facade of who he thinks he is, and he orders Matthews to take Copeland's wedding ring as Brody King just chokes the life out of him, basically. Black takes the ring, puts it in his pocket. They're going to hit the double corner chair shot thing, but Kyle O'Reilly sprints down to make the save and does briefly until...
Just gets his ass kicked.
Brody King, stops him. Black hits O'Reilly with his kick as well, and Adam Copeland's still in the corner, chairs are still there. So Black and Matthews rush from either end of the apron. They hit drop kicks, and Brody hits a cannonball to Adam Copeland in the ring to finish this off.
I thought this is quite frankly bad. Copeland sold for a frankly hysterical amount of time. Kyle O'Reilly just looked like a geek who got his ass kicked. I don't think they give him anywhere near enough in the brawl. Malachi Black, right? Do you want the belt or not? Why do you have to do this? Well, we're getting Beth Phoenix in a Julia Hart interaction.
Probably.
Feels like that's the way. So Malachi Black, who is about to compete for the TNT title, which he hasn't even thought about or articulated.
He would have been happy for Buddy or Brody to win it.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to read his backstage thing now? We can
well.
talk about it all in one go. Because, later on, he's staring at the ring, my precious. He's saying this is everything that's held Copeland back. Barbed wire cage match means there's still a part of Copeland that still exists. He accepts the challenge, but says that when he wins, Copeland must bend the knee to the House of Black.
Okay, cool. So he doesn't care about the title that much. It's the idea that he can't call himself the rated R superstar because he's in a wholesome monogamous marriage or whatever. Do you know what really pisses me off, right? How lame this is. By the way, as well, this is not just me being averse to spooky stuff in general, which I am, and a lot of people aren't, and those are tastes and all the rest of it. Is the second that Malachi Black started talking on Dynamite last week and started like alluding to, oh, you are corrupted already, or I want to corrupt you, or I want you to be a bad person, or you are a bad person, or this nonsense. Mm-hmm. What did the crowd chant? Shut the up. It's one level above what?
Yeah.
Like, they are not interested in this. They are not. And I'll tell you what as well, about this spooky corruption in wrestling that has, in fact, corrupted pro wrestling in the way that stories are told across the mid-card and virtually every single promotion. I mean, you see Gresham doing it now as well. Like, maybe it'll work for us. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's absolute delusional behavior that this will ever be.
Gresham's an actual octopus now, isn't he? He's not just wearing it as a mask. He's like...
This is an actual delusion that this will ever elevate a wrestler to a star actor, a star position. It's almost invariably received as this lame, daft thing. If it was like all the rage and people were getting over as a result of it, absolutely go nuts. That's what wrestling is. A chase to do the hot thing. It's never been the hot thing, so why do people do it? Why?
Undertaker got on a bike.
I know. Why is Malachi Black, right, with his talk of corruption and wanting to see the worst out of people? That's his thing, isn't it? He wants people to become the worst version of themselves, or he thinks people are denying that they are the worst versions of themselves and just become it and whatever. When, with this embrace the hate nonsense, Did 2012 Kane become the Velvet Underground of professional wrestling? Do you know what I mean? That whole thing about the Velvet Underground. It's not many people heard them, the old cliche goes, but everyone who did formed a band.
Your favourite band's favourite band.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff, yeah.
Why is 2012 Kane the Velvet Underground of pro wrestling?
And if you're Matt Cardone, you must be thinking, well, how can't I get a job out of this? Because everybody wants to push me off the stage.
It's like, away from my feelings on spooky stuff, it's an actual... In a vacuum, in and of itself, this segment died a death, and it was piss poor and heatless, and people just audibly groaned at it and articulated that apathy with a shut the up chant.
It's the thing as well, of I don't care about the title then. Like you said, but both of you said.
Just falls apart, man. All of this falls apart at the tiniest bit of scrutiny, especially in a company where, like, and even WWE, like we talked about this before, like, we're talking about WWE in 2024 versus one in 2021, but in AEW where, like, sports-based promotion, it's a pro wrestling company first and foremost. It's even worse here than it is even in 2024 WWE. Like, the stakes, the belt, mate. Like, if I'm Adam Copeland, I go, well, no, when the match is off. Like, I'm putting up, like, my belt. What are you putting up? Oh, nothing. You're asking for something else. That doesn't even make sense within, like...
Doesn't feel like he's got a title in this program.
Malachi Black's a thick idiot because I have to feel like he's got something to do with his bend the knee bollocks. Adam Copeland was going to that place before the House of Black asked him to. It's not like he's never thrown a concerto before. It's not like we haven't seen every version, for better and much worse, of Adam Copeland in his last WWE run, let alone what he's already done in AEW.
His demeanour at World's End, when he's effing and jeffing at Nigel McGuinness and putting people through burning tables and stuff, it's like,
there he is.
I think he's embraced the hate.
Like, like he knows where that place is. He's visited at least once in AEW. So, like,
he's home away from home.
But his other home is with his family, which is making him weak. It's bollocks.
He's a champion.
He's successful.
He's done more than Malachi Black ever has as a singles wrestler in AEW.
Yeah.
I think he's doing just fine. Good winning record in singles matches. I mean, Malachi does, but maybe for different reasons. I'm half being facetious.
Come on, guys, I'm shooting.
But so I'm once again asking you to help me get it. If it cannot be this clever, arcane thing that, if I just put all the pieces together, there'd be a big puzzle with an elegant, and then this solution, this eureka moment. Oh, fine. It's just bollocks.
Does he not get it? Like, you know how we always used to say the house rules were fundamentally flawed because it's like, give your opponent an advantage, and then if your opponent doesn't pick I'm bringing a gun, then they're thick. So that never properly worked.
Yeah.
Never really held up scrutiny, house rules. And this is like the opposite of that. Well, I need a benefit of wrestling. It's the title that you made couldn't win, arsehole.
It's the dumb. It's the worst thing is something dumb that thinks it's profound or clever, and it's just not. It just isn't. If it was, people would have connected with it by now.
I think I've made an amazing discovery.
They've just got a cool entrance and ass-kicking moves in trios matches. That's it.
Whilst you were talking about that, because I couldn't care less about this, I was thinking about, House of Black and obviously Edge's history of like corruption, and his big chair. I think that's been repurposed for Lexis King. I think it's the same chair. Look at that. Look at the design, and then look there.
Oh my God!
Oh, hang on, right? I thought you meant as a character, not the actual prop.
No, look,
it's Judgment Day throne.
The backing. So he's got that sort of old
look here,
library mahogany with the old pub chairs.
Yeah, don't ignore this. They've changed that, but look at this bit here, and then look at this. It's the same bloody chair.
One more.
Look at the design here.
Well, no, because the top's off the picture, mate.
The top.
You can just see the.
It wouldn't surprise us, props aren't cheap. They won't even sign Will Ospreay. They're not going to buy a new chair.
I think somebody was like pulling it through.
They're cheap bastards, man. They won't license music.
Yeah.
They use like Chef Rebel because they're cooking. Def Rebel for entrance themes. Of course, they're going to repurpose a chair. To be fair, that is a good spot.
I'm telling you, man, like they were pulling it through the warehouse.
Make them look more cheap than they are. Post that, tweet it.
Like the
it's
staff
unacceptable.
On a chain, pulling it through. Creative genius Shawn Michaels has gone there looking for Heartbreak Hotel set stuff, and because he's reliving that somewhere. And then he sees the chair getting pulled, and he's like, I'm giving that to Lexis King. Like, and they just included his entrance, and that's how it happened.
Heartbreak Hotel. Give it to Brooks Jensen.
He is posting every day of the booze that he's
heartbroken
through. Yep.
NXT, wherever you get your podcast
Drinking
from.
a whiskey drink, a lager drink, and a cider drink on the TL at the moment.
He has been knocked down.
He can get up again. With a best. We're number 1 and we don't need a sticker.
Born over his gob, maybe. It
They recap the leg injury that Eddie Kingston suffered at New Japan's Resurgence show, dropping the title to Gabe Kidd, of course, and then the attack by the Elite for him joining Team AEW. And bastards. God, Eddie Kingston must have been bit by the injury bug, they say.
Good stuff.
It was a good week for the new Elite.
Jack Perry goes, well, guess that's means for 4 on 3. That's the rules. So you can't pick anyone new for your
And
team.
you like rules, don't you, Will Boy?
Yeah, indeed. I'm a stickler for them, some people say. But they show a graphic. Kingston's been removed from the match, and Okada blows a kiss to Dax ahead of the main event and calls him a bitch. Fun this one.
Fun. Like everything they did touch to turn to gold. Like, you're going to recap the advert?
Yeah, they have got Reebok shoes. I haven't really written down exactly what happened, but I was like, they got shoes now.
So Okada with the shoes, like, hey, it's a cool shoes, these.
And then we go backstage following that with FTR. They talk about being a man down for Anik in the arena. The Elite might think, says Wheeler, that it's 4 on 3, but they found a 4th guy for the match. Gabbo, innit? Who's going to be?
Oh.
And Dax Harwood does his Charlie Nicholas impression. He looks like you're the bitch, actually. But if it was a bitch, you're a bitch, and you're a bitch for the Elite. So 1-0 to me, I think. I love Dax Harwood. You can't. Well, no, actually, no. Good comeback.
The guys in my basement bar are going to love that one.
Skin is thinner than Colin Delaney.
No, talk anything more about this one to get to the Young Bucks match that followed.
Okay, get to the match and the post-match.
Yeah, they Matthew and Nicholas Jackson take on Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal, as has been set up on Collision, of course. Jack Perry joins commentary for this.
I thought he was really good.
Yeah. And Excalibur points out last time Daniels faced the Bucks, it was the SCU thing. That's that got another pop from me because we always talk about it anyway. Enough of that. To the back. But Daniels and Sidal make a great team. Some good double team offense early on. Bucks take control as we go to a break, though. When we come back, hot tag from Sidal to Daniels. Death Valley driver. The Bucks crash into each other. There's like a DDT STO combo thing. But Daniels eats a super kick. Sidal gets launched over the barricade by Matthew Jackson. Daniels cuts off Nicholas in the corner, goes for a hook and rana, but his brother's holding onto his leg. So Daniels just crashes and burns. Tony Khan driver.
He ate it.
Yeah, he did. Tony Khan driver connects and the Bucks win it. Let's talk match, then we'll talk post.
Yeah, not much to say about the match, so it's mainly all about the post-match here. Good news, bad news situation here is that in terms of television, I never thought I'd see the day. It was always going to come, you know, people on mortal bodies break down, you know, you have to pick your spots as you get older as a pro wrestler. What is it, the gear? You know, this Young Bucks TV match run as EVPs, we have entered the Young Bucks Gentleman's 3 era, and it's just so, I cannot reconcile it. It's always a bit, this is neither now nor something, this match. It kind of just exists. Like, that's the bad news. The good news is that between the insanity that was Revolution, the insanity that was at Dynasty, and the insanity that is forthcoming at Anarchy in the Arena, particularly with who the 4th man is, the Young Bucks have, at the same time, entered their, we're going to save our bumps era, and my God, do they save them for these unbelievably violent spectacles on pay-per-view.
It is trade-off and stuff, isn't it?
Trade-off, I think I prefer this trade.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, you see enough great matches on TV, maybe like the Young Bucks working smarter and saving all their bums for these pay-per-views, especially when there's more of them. I don't need to see that many great TV matches anymore. Like, I'm not like a Hamlet. Like, I need to see some, goddammit.
Yeah.
But no, the Gentleman's 3 / the most hog wild you'll ever see on pay-per-view. Yeah. I'll take that trade. Genuinely, I will.
They've earned it as well.
Oh, why?
Nobody's watching and resenting them because they're not phoning it in. This is the point. They have their own version. The best wrestlers have their own version of a really like nice TV match that can then be elevated. Like Cody does it all the time as well. His TV stuff is markedly different from his pay-per-view stuff, but it's still enjoyable on its own terms. Like the best wrestlers master that, and it's just something else the Young Bucks have become really good at quite quickly.
I know you're meant to not think, the Young Bucks look cool. I know that's the response they're not going for actively. Matt Jackson's kind of looking a little bit better in his gear, the sneakers. Nick Jackson with his Yadaz shoes, like my school shoes in 1998. You know what I mean? It's just like, please wear trainers. I know I'm not meant to think you look cool, but you look so uncool that it's legitimately distracting to me. I don't think he looks comfortable either.
No, and his kickers.
These kickers? Put your sneakers back on. When the biggest pop of the night for me was when they said, they're wearing Reeboks.
Aye.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
They're going to look like the Young Bucks properly again.
So post-match, they
The
take
worst boots I've ever seen in my life.
they take the mic and talk about Christopher Daniels putting his hands on Matthew last week. They're trying to rid this locker room of toxicity, and Daniels is trying to ruin it. They're the bad news. They're the bearers of bad news, unfortunately. Christopher Daniels, you're fired. But don't worry, we'll take care of you. We'll take care of your family. We're going to pay you for a whole 30 days, and we provide you with a security escort out of the building. Thanks for your service. And as if this couldn't get any worse, arguably. Well, not arguably, definitely getting more of a reaction than firing Christopher Daniels. Jack Perry on commentary toasts this and then pours his drink on Toni Schiavone, who calls him a son. Oh my God. Wasn't even that much drink as well, which I think arguably worked better. Just like,
And it was like,
all the backwash, in it goes.
Is it like the Woo Energy stuff as well? Imagine how gross that'd be. I have to sit with that.
Mushroom infused.
The mushroom, yeah.
What's different about this drink, Ric Flair? Cycle through my decayed brain. What has the person told me? This absolute, like, crypto guy who's trying to put my name on something. Mushroom infused. That's what he said. Did an interview with Observer Radio, of course, the platform. And it was mushroom infused. Oh, thanks, Rick. Thanks for your contribution. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I know. That's the. Sorry, that's trouble.
I've said all along with this Young Bucks hostile takeover, Tony Khan taking bumps, like. This is a well thought out fake wrestling angle.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you can believe Hangman Page thought, I'm in a stable with Kenny Omega, I'm not as good as him. And that it was like the whole thing was the real life personality turned up to 11, that cliche. It felt true with Omega. It was like visually true with MJF, like as a kid having the picture taken with CM Punk. His social media footprint, watching Punk shake hands with Danielson. That Instagram post where he's like, I don't want to do college football, I'm going to be a wrestler. That exists. That real thing informed how great that was. Another example, CM Punk, Eddie Kingston. Everyone knows they kind of hated each other back in the Indies. So that informed it. This continues to be different in a way that's a little bit harder to swallow for me personally to the other big or best AEW storylines, because it's evidently, demonstrably a fake pro wrestling angle, as evidenced again here because Christopher Daniels still has his job, and they've just said he's fired on TV. He's not. It's a fake wrestling angle. So that's a little bit hard for me to reconcile.
Maybe he'll just work from home like Tony Khan.
Yeah.
He'll do his job on a laptop now.
That in itself is a problem, because it's not as if he's like in a coma because he's got this brutal head injury from the Tony Khan driver, and the succession plan says, it's the Young Bucks, and Tony Khan's unaware. Like, you cannot, those things just contradict one another. And it's a bit of a mess, and they've stopped really explaining it, and that's an issue in and of itself. It sounds like I'm really burying this. I kind of am, but at the same time, this really worked on an emotional layer, because Christopher Daniels, in the match, looked all right at points. Other times, you are broken down. That's fine. How many years have you been at this? There was like a pathos to it. It's like, what's he going to do after losing his job, air quotes, in AEW? It's like, you're finished, mate. And you've just been told you're legitimately finished. And then the wonderfully cruel black comedy juxtaposition of, hey guys, AEW. Oh, yeah. AEW. It's like this knackered guy who's just ate on the finish. It's just like hobbling out of the arena. That was really good. Like, I thought Daniels played his role perfectly. Thought the Bucks were great. And then the cheat code, don't abuse it too much.
Yeah.
The cheat code of be horrible to the soul of the promotion and the voice of your childhood, Toni Schiavone. Don't do it too much. But then again, I loved it so much, maybe do it every week. I thought it was handled really well. This felt like a good version of something that's evidently a work.
I saw
every single level with nothing behind it.
When Jack Perry went for Shivani in particular, I wondered here if they were setting something up for post Double or Nothing and maybe even further on beyond that.
Schiavone should throw water in one of their faces in Vegas.
That's a nice spot, yeah, because they're going to be there anyway. They'll be all around him. I saw somebody posted on X a clip of, and it was a promo that existed for its own sake this time last year of in the 4 Pillars build, not a great build ultimately, but MJF basically saying then Jungle Jack Perry, like, you need to get out of your own way. You're such a geeky, goody two-shoes loser. You've patronising him, but you got the potential. But you
could run this company one day.
You got to find that dickhead inside, that whole thing. And now he's done it. And how's he done that? By doing what MJF used to do all the time when nobody else could. Crossing the sacred line of using Tony Schiavone.
What was the line when he stood atop the turnbuckles?
This was when MJF was having a match with Marco Stunt ahead of his match with Jungle Boy.
It's Pando time as well.
Pando time. Hey, Schiavone, you fat prick. Tell Jungle Boy this is what's coming for him at Double or Nothing.
Like,
and it was like there was nothing else to hear.
Yeah.
But silence. You fat prick.
I loved the law that they were setting up in old age.
He also called Conrad Thompson turkey tits. He did. Bring back heel MJF, man. He was the best.
Yes, but I think I'm quite interested in seeing babyface MJF and Jack Perry here. Like that, I loved that when they were having that 2020 feeling of one day this is going to be a top tier program, and then when it was like, it's not a proper one, is it though? I kind of wouldn't mind MJF slotting in here. I don't want him ever and drooling and spitting all over the place, but like, I don't mind
defender of Tony Schiavone, MJF.
Well, just like,
that'd be class.
You have a pathetic excuse.
God.
I know how to do this. You're faking it, mate. Like, this is a big deal. You tipped a drink on his head. Wait, watch what I do.
I've just realised. This rah AEW stuff, it's because you've just done a voice then. This rah AEW stuff, which stems from my, I get it, people like NXT and they love the passion in that place. One of the reasons why AEW this, AEW that, it's giving Tommy Dreamer.
Oh.
Hey, safe.
That's Cedric Sheeter and every reply guy he's had of late. That's it, isn't it? That's what the people with.
It's giving Tommy Dreamer.
Do you reckon when Adam Copeland walked backstage and said, "What did you think of that rah speech, Tony Khan?" Do you think he said, "Please, sir, can I have another?" And Dax went out and did it.
Oh man, imagine Dax and Dreamer.
Oh,
talking about the past, talking about the future, coming soon to the AEW YouTube channel. That's their own little show.
Oh God, that wouldn't be half an hour.
D&D.
D&D.
Them two talking about the business.
Oh God, 6 hours a week.
Oh, it would go longer than Gunsmoke.
The longest running episodic episode. They've been live streaming for like 3 weeks. Well, I think we just fixed the business. See you next week.
But the thing is, if you do that, you need some sort of big flashpoint ending for the podcast. I don't know if Tommy Dreamer's had any big suggestions for that sort of thing.
Well, I know Cash can help it out.
DM'd in a minute.
I know, man.
I said nothing, Tom.
My DMs are going to get busted open here. Podcast Horseman, wherever you get your podcast. Why you went there, mate?
I don't know why, but I like the lack of drink that it was in Jack Perry's drink. There's like this all backwash and stuff, and just and he's still got his hair's not completely soaked. It's just dripping a little.
Mushroom for you.
That's Mushroom Jones out here.
Yeah, Taz loved it, didn't he? He wasn't stepping into it. Good one, that. Good one, Jack.
Now do Excalibur. He's got a mask on, don't really work.
Renee Paquette's backstage with Timeless, Toni Storm, Luther, and Mariah May.
This is an absolute 6.25 star promo.
Informs that not only is Saraya, but Mariah May and Luther are all banned from ringside for the match with Harley Cameron. Toni said her maternal instincts are kicking in. If Cameron wants to bully her child, she's going to take her womb to the woodshed.
Yep.
As for Deep, thank you for knocking me out so I no longer had to listen to your sob story. And after what you did to me last week, you're going to end up like everyone in Vegas, flat on your back with an ass in your face, chin tit shoe.
She also didn't she say, "I'm the old whore that you can't help but adore"?
Sorry, yeah.
She's 28 years old. That's great. I love Toni Storm. Absolutely a highlight of my television every single goddamn week.
I love how she's just boiled it down to chin, tit, shoe now.
Yeah.
Someone tunes in, not seen it before. Sorry, what was that ending bit? Then it was time, very briefly, for a Hook match. Hook returned. Poor Sebastian Wolfe got battered. Went sent flying by a suplex, the crossface strikes, red rum. Simple. We don't really comment anything on the match. It was just the post-match because afterwards, Hook just grabs the mic from Justin Roberts, says he's here for the FTW Championship, here for Chris Jericho, calls him out. I have a learning tree. Out comes Chris Jericho with big...
You're going to get him over indirectly.
Yeah, careful.
Force of Willborn.
Yeah. And he's doing the whole, hey, thanks everybody. He's hearing the thing that we're not hearing sort of thing. He's glad to see Hook. Hopes that Hook has learned something in his absence. And since what's the phrase he keeps using? Effectively hit himself in the face with a baseball bat. But he loves sharing the spotlight with him. And Hook's like, spotlight? You want to have all the spotlight and I'm gonna beat your ass tonight. And Jericho says, tonight isn't a fighting moment. It's a teaching moment.
Oh! Teachable moment!
Look, I suppose if you're going to steal from the best.
Yeah.
It's a rule in wrestling.
Greatness echoes greatness.
Chris Jericho is Dick Joseph.
The world doesn't revolve around you, Hook, says Jericho. You need to be less selfish, like me. You need to think of others.
Do you get it? Do you see what he's doing?
There's a please retire chant. And Jericho says he's not ready for that. Him and the Redwood are here to entertain everybody. He actually said, this is great. I know why you want me to retire, because you know that when I do, I'll be inducted into every pro wrestling Hall of Fame in the world, but I'm not ready for that. Neither are you.
Yeah, they've said it to you countless times.
Considering it's part of the bit, I kind of thought he'd have something better for that. Like, this gimmick, this whole deal lately has been like sort of flickering its eyelashes at people that like want to like Chris Jericho again. And he has to know this stuff's coming. And I'd like, it should be baked in. He must have like 6-7 comebacks in the chamber.
What can you say to that? I'm profoundly tedious.
The
extent to which I'm a creep is unknown, and the ambiguity is really ruining the vibe. People think I'm dragging down this product that I was once a bridge towards. What? There's no comeback to that. He's like, Drake, you can't come back from that.
Just
there's now you can see.
Be the big knowing guy. And not
I'm not saying there's no knowledge, no comeback.
No knowledge there. He says it's not the FTW's out of the way. It's for the world, not for the Hook. When you lose a title, you've got to work your way back up, which is why on Collision, he's going to have a qualification match. And if Hook wins, maybe he'll face Jericho again. And Hook says, sounds great. You know what else? And he just clocks Jericho in the head with the mic.
That did sound good.
Yeah, looked good as well.
It always does.
Yeah.
Bonk.
Big Bill attacked him. Hook got a waist lock, but Jericho clocked him, and Bill just beat him up. Katsuyori Shibata made the save, sent Bill out of the ring with a kick after ducking one of his, and Jericho's suddenly bleeding. Great. And they leave shouting, what's wrong with you? As they walk up the ramp.
Follow-up promo as well, maybe, to fold this in with who else is now injected himself into the story.
The Renee Hook Shibata one. Yeah, so later on, Renee's backstage with the two of them. Is the numbers game becoming too much against Chris Jericho? Hook says, the numbers game doesn't matter. I'll beat whoever I have to in order to get a shot at Jericho. And Shibata does the phone gimmick and says, even me. He wants another shot at Jericho as well. Looks like if that's how it's got to be, so be it. And they sort of nod in agreement. Samoa Joe walks in and laughs and says, I thought you had promised, but Jericho's making you look like a fool. Maybe I was wrong seeing something in you. And Hook says, yeah, let's have I'll have a bare knuckle fight with you as well then. And Shibata holds up his phone, which says he's too big to be wearing a floral print.
I felt seen when he said that. So thanks, Shibata. In terms of the in-ring segment, maybe that's why I subconsciously decided not to wear a tropical shirt today.
Love that shirt, though.
Thank you very much. The in-ring segment, Jericho doing this leaning in stuff, I hate. It's just so, you want me to retire? No, you're not ready for that yet, guys. I'd be on TV for 2 hours if I could. It's like, it's so desperate. It's so desperate. I really dislike it. What else was I going to say about this? Not much. I couldn't give two tosses, really. There was something I was going to say. Oh, yes, this is what I was going to say. Chris Jericho was unconsciously or otherwise trying to scoop the Young Bucks' heat.
Yeah.
The whole point of the Young Bucks is that they are playing disingenuous, full baby faces who, in their minds, believe that they're the heroes. They're the ones who want to change the world, guys. Yeah, we're killing it and stuff like this.
Literally did an AEW chant earlier on
AEW
after firing
chant.
someone, yeah.
Like, the cadence and the attitude and the approach to this insincere babyface, the Young Bucks started doing it at the turn of the year, and whether unconsciously or otherwise, Chris Jericho, who's been accused in the past of trying to steal the hot thing or the big thing or whatever, it's almost identical, the character.
Yeah, he sucks. He sucks.
Maybe you could team up with them in the future.
I do like Shibata's bit. If he's not going to be a killer who's promoted as a killer at the top of the card, this juxtaposition is quite funny. I couldn't give a toss about anything.
The door being opened for a Samoa,
he's having a bad time.
Samoa Joe Chris Jericho match. I want that door slammed in somebody's face. Like, Undertaker, you slam that door in my friendship. Like, with this product. Like, I have my suspicions that there were some liars out there that were overpraising Samoa Joe's world title run, and indeed his form, on account of just loving Joe. Who doesn't love Joe?
Yes.
One of the best live wrestlers ever. I think the experience of seeing Samoa Joe is all real. Like, that man is like a force of nature in terms of pro wrestling charisma. One of the very best ever.
They call it like the Golden Watch.
What's that?
Like when
you
an
retire.
actor or a director gets the Oscar for not their best work, but respectable latter-day work.
Yeah. A gold watch title.
Like The
run.
Departed, basically. I think I've used this analogy before, but like, he's done The Departed. It's about time.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is better.
But it was being spoken of like he's an Undertaker saving the business because some people really didn't like the MJF run. Like, back to AEW.
Just the way you remember it.
And I never bought it then. And I think people were lying to themselves, either out of love and loyalty towards Samoa Joe or because they believe that AEW should be this one specific thing, like this kind of dogmatic approach. And it was never Joe, really. I just think we all want to be nice to Samoa Joe. And what that is going to extend to in this ongoing awful game of, we're all just playing checkers. Chris Jericho's playing chess. He's not. He's playing that game of chess that like Rick and Eddie have in Bottom, where one of the characters is Spider-Man and there's a pepper pot on the board or something like that. Like, they're going to have this match and Joe's going to like hit the muscle buster on Chris Jericho or whatever. And a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, this feels good. Really great seeing Jericho get what's coming to him in this completely cooperative working environment. Like, off. I'm going to say every week, it makes me want to tell Chris Jericho to off. Like, that's how he makes me feel. And then he's going to say, thank you, yes. Off is great somehow. I win again.
I always win.
Yeah.
Always win.
He's become the man he always hated. Triple H.
Yeah.
I saw some more of those bloody tweets. Like, I for my sins, I admit, I really enjoyed that match with Shibata he had the other week, and I was like, maybe he's going to just get this through. And the last couple of weeks, I was like, oh no, it was just it was on an island there, and I saw people like, people saying he should retire, and he's like, oh,
You fired up for the Hook Weapons match at Double or Nothing. Taking the card in the double figures.
You got a button for this guy over there. So that's about it.
You're joking. Not another one?
No, thank you. No, thank you. Right. Swerve Strickland, world champion. Congratulates Washington. He's the champion. He says Embassy bit the hand that feed them. He put him down. Yes, he was the one that got put in a coffin, but he's going to put Christian in his grave. And this is going to be the final nail in the coffin of the Mogul Embassy when he fights Brian Cage and he walks out to the ring. World title eliminator immediately attacks at the bell, charging double knee, low bridges Cage to the outside, tries a dive, but Cage catches him in the suplex position. Strickland manages to land on the apron, hits a pump kick and a double stomp to the arm. He keeps targeting the arm throughout the match. He wraps it around the post, but Cage, because he's just a beast, uses his good arm to post Strickland himself. Goes for that suplex from the apron inside, but Strickland snaps the arm, hits a rolling flatliner for 2. We go to a break. When we come back, Cage does that amazing suplex from the apron into the ring. They trade shots. Cage turns him inside out, but Strickland pops up and drops him. He does that uppercut to the back off the second rope, does Swerve, and he catches an attempted Cage leapfrog into a brainbuster for a near fall.
Yeah.
He attempted another rolling flatliner, but pump knee from Cage comes back. He tries for that Weapon X, but Strickland rolls through into a short arm scissors. Cage powers into a buckle bomb, though. Gets out of the drill claw, or avoids the drill claw. Fires off an uppercut headbutt. Cage falls to the apron, where Strickland hits that slingshot double stomp of his. They go back inside. Strickland hits the 450 splash, but Cage kicks out. He comes back with a pop-up powerbomb for 2 of his own. Once drill claw, but Strickland again fights out of it. Cage goes for another big pop-up, but Strickland gets a double stomp, snaps back the arm of Cage. House call, 1, 2, 3.
I was really shocked by this. I wasn't dreading this, but it just inspired nothing within me. Brian Cage is the guy who loses lots of TV matches. He's possibly the most heavily featured in-ring guy on Dynamite. There's no real science behind that, but it's scientific fact. If he actually isn't, it feels like more than most of the mid-carders of the rotating cast. He doesn't rotate, he's just in it all the time. And there's, he's kind of the worst person to be in that slot because as fun as his best matches are, he's a thoroughly one-dimensional guy, with limited range. So I just feel like I've just seen Brian Cage get beat enough times to last me a lifetime personally. And that's only a problem in AEW when there's so many other wrestlers you'd like to watch more often. So I was like, another Brian Cage match, great. A Brian Cage match was pretty great.
Yeah.
It's had this balance of the really spectacular, genuinely how the hell do you do that spot stuff? When he caught the dive into the suplex, it's ridiculous. But it was underpinned by this really hard-hitting tone of 2 wrestlers who kind of know, we have to hate each other for 10, 12, 40 minutes, however long it lasted. It had all of that. I thought Swerve was enhanced immeasurably by the fact that Swerve was in Washington, where he's from. So that helped a lot. Maybe if this was in that Winnipeg Dynamite, it would have died a death. Who the hell knows? But I thought maybe that's taken away from, again, the hard work they did to make this exciting, but also a struggle and hate-fueled at the same time. And I loved Swerve doing that sort of delayed brain buster. What a fantastic bit of registering. Trying to do this, I need your support to do it. And then he did it in sync with the crowd willing him on. And it was a spectacular thing to watch in and of itself. I had a great amount of time for the actual match, reservations about the post-match.
Good matchmaking, this. I think Swerve's needed. I thought, really, in hindsight, it probably should have been with
Nick Wayne.
Claudio. What I was going to say, where some of his,
the last 5 minutes of that match were great.
There were
collision with that one.
Yeah. He's changed so much about himself from the Swerve that drew raves to the Swerve. The character was what really got him over the line as a guy that you want to see him strapped up as the champion. But some of his matches, I don't think maybe hit the heights that they did with Hangman Page, and certain moments when you've really seen the magic in him I'm going right back to I saw him a couple of times. I luckily saw him in the Indies a couple of times, but even in WWE and in NXT, you were there's something really special there. But then wrestlers have to sort of adjust along the way. And Brian Cage was a perfect opponent for that. That brainbuster's a great take as well. How you're seeing that's so less forced as a babyface choice than some of the other things that they're doing with the Swerve thing. But he if he's gonna do some of the stuff Swerve does offense wise at this point, do it on a guy like Brian Cage, because you kind of feel like you have to, not that you're farting around with some needlessly flashy stuff when it no longer speaks to your character nor speaks to your position on the card. It's because it's necessity against Brian Cage. So I feel like we're watching Swerve evolving into wrestling as what we expect from a main event version of himself, and this was the best exhibition of that so far.
So post-match, Swerve Strickland goes into the ring, grabs 2 chairs, lays out Cage. He's going to break his arm, but he sets one chair and he grabs the other one. When Christian Cage's music hit, he walks out with Nick Wayne's mom. She's got it going on. And in amongst all this, Nick Wayne appears behind Swerve, low blows him. Killswitch comes in, hits a pump kick as well. And they've got a family picture of the Swerve family, the Strickland family, I should say. And he smashes it over Swerve's face, busts him open. Christian comes down to the ring. and he talks about how Swerve embarrassed his son, Nick Wayne, by attacking him in Washington in a similar manner. He's now going to embarrass... You've enforced me now to embarrass you. Do you think your daughter's proud of her absentee father? And then he rubs the photo on Swerve's face and it's all covered in blood. And he said, tonight, I took your blood and at Double or Nothing, I take your title.
The blood helped in terms of the execution of the angle. But I said when they first interacted and it was really flat and Christian Cage was like, the world's best Kane at Backlash. Like the world's best ever version of Kane at Backlash, where it's like, right, this is the first program, you're going to win, whatever. Like, even if it hasn't happened this way, you know, when like there's a feeling, even if it contradicts the actual truth, it still feels more, it feels like Swerve Strickland, who won the world title in April, and we are still in May. Mm-hmm. It feels, in terms of the perception of the character, and all the rest of it, like he's gotten his ass kicked in angles more than Jon Moxley did for a year. Like Jon Moxley had that title for 9 months. Yeah. It just felt like there was an image of Jon Moxley. Maybe the week-to-week was different and I'm misremembering, but there was that image of how protected he was, how much he owned the role, how much the booking really took care of him. It just felt like he was the guy, and he was this, I'm going to win, this is how, and then I'm going to make you forget how I said I was going to win. I'm going to win exactly how I did it.
It's quite Steve Austin in the angles as well. He would typically get the last word on TV.
Indeed,
yeah. Like
and it never was bad.
See you next week. I've done him again.
Yeah.
You know,
and Swerve's not that babyface champion. I think what's happened here, it's almost a bit insulting, this. It's like, do you really think this is how it works, AEW? Because I don't. Like the idea of, right, okay, well, everyone knows that Christian Cage is probably going to lose a Double or Nothing. It'll be a fun match, whatever. What we need to do here is have the patriarchy kick Swerve Strickland's ass every single week, right? And that way people might think, hey, the Christian Cage guy's got a chance. It's the exact same logic, albeit with much better performances and dialogue and promos. It's the exact same logic as, oh my God, he's just stood tall on the penultimate Raw. Yeah. He's gonna win at the pay-per-view. I just feel a bit insulted watching this. It's like what you've done is you've realized you have to do this. You have to have someone who's going to lose these long title reigns, or like otherwise you just go into Russo territory, which you'd never ever want to do in your goddamn life ever again. But it feels like they are trying to get ahead of the audience, and the audience knows better. I just feel a little bit insulted. It's like, I know what the crack is.
If that happens in just over
9 days,
then Christian Cage leaves as champion.
Yeah, it feels like a total overcorrection.
Yeah.
I love
at the detriment of Swerve's aura.
Going for the tooth next week then, isn't he?
I think so.
Last one.
My big thing here was I just love how the entire world has changed. There would have been a time where I would have waited, maybe like 15 to 20 hours on my free serve dial-up internet for the illicit footage of the mass transit incident to finally appear as an MP4 played through Real Jukebox on my giant tower monitor computer. Now I just need to wait for like week 3 of a TV angle with Swerve Strickland to see that spout of blood. Like this was horrendous. Like it got it over, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because that was absolutely grim.
Gross.
Like this, and it will get lost. People remember the drinking blood one, but this...
And they remember the Nick Wayne one where he got busted open.
Yeah. But this one will sort of get lost to time, and this just went...
Was that you there?
Yeah.
Oh, God, a flashback start.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Pissed out his face.
Is AEW the bloodiest promotion ever? On balance. Like, if you compare it to, like, PCW, FMW, but, like, if you think, like, how high profile...
As a Detroit territory? Pretty bloody.
It's pretty bloody, isn't it? If you stack up the most bloodiest moments in the company ever. Remember the old Great Muta Scale? And how almost nothing touched it? There's like Muta Scale stuff on TV semi-regularly, isn't there?
Aye. It's weird because the Muta Scale footage is so grainy. The Eddie Scale or the Dustin Scale. Like Dustin Rhodes at Double or Nothing, I thought, is he losing too much of this stuff? Like the canvas looked
oh, God.
Looked awesome.
After this, we get the commercial for their new show, A Meal and a Match, which is going to be going out on their YouTube channel. Then we got Renee with Hook and Shibata. And then it was time for... Sorry, I'm just checking my notes here. I mean, there is a contract... There is a contract signing, but this is the only women's match on the card. It was Timeless Toni Storm versus Harley Cameron. Harley got in some offense again.
Didn't do a song.
Oh, yeah, got time. I'll run through this with Hamlet.
You do that. And I'll do this.
Okay. Again, Harley Cameron gets in some offense, as I say, but eventually she runs into a Thez press by Storm, who launches her to the outside with a hip attack, and then Serena Deeb's atop the ramp, distracting her enough for Cameron to be able to take control as we go to a break. We come back, the crowd's hugely behind Storm, makes her comeback. Corner backstabber, snap pile driver, and a fisherman suplex gets 2. Cameron, though, hits Soul Food and a Shining Wizard for 2. She's built up a bit of a head of steam, runs into a sit-out choke bomb by Storm, though. They traded for some near falls, and then Storm fakes punch. Cameron ducks. She just got hit with Storm Zero and beat him 1, 2, 3. And there's a stare down between Deeb and Storm after the match, with Storm telling her to piss off.
A good, protracted TV squash. Harley Cameron is, again, pretty accomplished, I think, for a lack of experience.
The last couple of weeks for her, I'd say,
I think she's done herself a lot of favours with these performances, because nobody's going to be campaigning for a push right now. But you've seen sometimes when especially in the women's division, because there's a lack of reps, but it happens more and more with the wrestlers that we talk about it. The one page on cage match wrestlers, I've never known it be so commonplace on television.
Yeah.
And you put in a lot of these wrestlers out, and like Maxine Dupree is the example. That was starting to feel like career killing stuff, wasn't it? The stuff that she was being sent out there and asked to do. Like, how many matches? 5 now. I think you're ready for the Ocean Cyclone Suplex.
Yeah.
So, Harley Cameron's not obviously being given stuff as complex looking as that, but I'm not seeing problems with the footwork.
No.
And that's a huge problem in NXT all the time. The wrestlers that don't look like they should be out there yet. She's I think she's had 2 good matches in a row for her. And Toni Storm knows how to, just knows the hows and what's to do with a situation like this TV squash, knows what to use, what not to use. All of her stuff always looks snug, but especially when she's doing it on somebody that you're told and is showing you that she's still quite green. So it's there's almost an extra satisfaction to, geez, I drilled it there. Welcome to the business, kid. That sort of stuff. So yeah, this again, pretty good matchmaking. This couldn't have gone better for either.
I said to myself earlier in the week, I try not to go too sprawling and wide-ranging with my thoughts on AEW as a whole, and I'm just talking about one TV show. There's a time and a place for it, but I couldn't help myself here. There is a landfill in this AEW women's division of wrestlers who've got all the potential in the world. Anna Jay, Red Velvet, just to name 2, of this cycle of shows enormous potential, doesn't get the opportunity to realize that potential because they're simply not working enough matches. So when I'm watching Harley Cameron, and again, it's not NXT. I don't know why I'm watching someone's 23rd match ever on national television. You know what I mean? There's Ring of Honor for this and all the rest of it. I'm just thinking, well, she's doomed. Doesn't matter how promising she is.
Yeah.
How many? She's got a maximum of 3 matches she could work a week. A maximum of 3 matches she could work on any given week, and 9.4 times out of 10 in the future she'll do none. How can you invest in this character? It's just difficult, and I feel sorry for her. Just the feeling of, all right, there's another doomed one. I've campaigned for a long time for Tony Khan. Now that the Stardom relationships here, things might change, but he really needs to book the women in a different way that he does to the men. He does. He needs to focus on a core nucleus, change up your booking patterns, and I think Red Velvet could have come along such a long way at this point. I think she's the one who's really got something, but it's just not happening for her realistically, and it's quite sad. I will say that the last 90 seconds or whatever of this match, shockingly good, considering the level of experience that Harley Cameron has. And another thing on the world title picture, God knows what's going on. I was convinced that Toni Storm was showing a little bit of a babyface side with her Mariah May stuff, but now they're both heels. Great. So last week, Deeb cuts this really impassioned promo, goes through her history with seizures. It's quite affecting, or theoretically affecting, and then she outwits Toni Storm, the heel, who tries to sucker punch her, right? This week, Toni Storm's wrestling a heel in Harley Cameron, and Serena Deeb is out there trying to distract her, which is traditionally a heel thing to do. She's got this flag on her shoulder and this grin that eerily never moves. It's I'm not going to cheer for that. It's weird.
As if the guy holding the camera can't direct and say, you're on camera in 3, 2, now pull the face. It's just got just on the off chance,
Very
flashback to Alvarez. Whoa, put your hand in the air.
very, very strange all told this business. Here's a refrain from last year. It echoes again. Pay-per-view match will be good.
So get on a button. Save time.
Pay-per-view match will be good.
Deeb's the heel in the match. That's all we know, isn't it? The rest of it, the rest of the build, they're just kind of making it up as they go along.
They have to. They have to. It'll be really misjudged if not.
So that was the only women's match on the card. But before we get to the name of the game, Sid, we have to get to the aim of the game.
Disclaimer, 50% of the lyrics have been changed to something that makes sense in the context of the game. I didn't, on the spot, couldn't do two. There's 2 lines where I'm allowed to do the same lyrics.
My worst nightmare of like a wrestle culture of that. Just, oh God, I forgot to do a song.
Yeah. I don't know why I do this to myself.
Yeah.
But the aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first entrance theme for the first woman to appear for the only women's match on Dynamite. With the idea being, if we can just nail it, it'll really underscore how obligatory this is. This whole thing, if it's not a passion project, is it? You got to get the birds. Got to give the birds something to do. It's 2024. That's what it feels like to me, cynically or otherwise, how this division is treated. How it is treated. It's hard enough as it is without you interjecting, so please be quiet. So that's what I think the AEW thought process is, but we jingleize it because this is a mouthful. Bold, italicized, underscore. The jingle is, hey, don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. And that's the aim of the game.
Can we have the...
Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away.
No, I'm not going to die.
That's the aim of the game. The name of the game is, again, there are 6 lines here. 2 of them, I don't know how to change them. 3 of them. Now it's 3 in the morning, and I'm watching Dynamite. Left you multiple first calls. To my message, you reply. Why do you only book the one match? Why do you only book the one match?
Oh, brilliant. Thanks as always to...
First line was a killer, though. That was really good.
It's pretty much just that's when I watch it. Tired. Very tired.
And it's always after 3 because it's in the last... Yeah, it's really good, Sage.
Thank you to Jose Palomares in particular. Adam Blair enjoying a well-earned break, but thank you as always to him. Panda Blair himself, but...
Jose Palomares is
well, yes,
Twitter.
I should say that Jose Palomares at the Ho11 on X, and Adam Blair at Adam Wilton they always take care of the
data,
this sort of thing. Sid, do you want to run through our guesses from the Dynamite preview in December? Oh, no.
I don't know. Never gonna learn.
Never. Michael Hamflet, 1 hour, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. 1 hour, 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Adam Wilborn, I don't know you from Adam. 1 hour, 20 minutes flat.
1 hour, 27:18, says Jose.
I'm going to go for that because I kept saying.
He said if only
I
Sid
thought it was stacked.
If only Sid had stuck with his original guess. Takes me into the lead.
Yeah.
I think possibly for the first time. 5 correct guesses for the year for me, 4 for Hamflet, 1 for Sidge, but still lots to play for throughout this year.
Well,
Or potentially not, maybe after Double or Nothing, who knows? We could finally retire this game. I'm going to fly through this.
I'm going to get a button. I really need a piss. I shouldn't have had a glass of water. Get a button and just go.
Okay, I'll fly through this program because we're running short on time.
Did that once and it was just, how long is this? What's the listeners feel like? Don't.
I think, yeah. Anyway, I have to press a button now because I now look. You can call me Will. Ospreay is backstage with Roderick Strong and Arcady doing the interview.
Bright walks down the street.
Will says he feels like the world's eyes are on him, but he's got a sour taste in his mouth. He hates how comfortable Roddy is with.
You can buy my van.
There are only 2 reasons.
Oh, my van.
You can call me Billy, and I will be your long lost pal. We will vote for Brexit, and Brexit when you call me, you can buy my van. You can buy my van.
I'm a f***ing dick. My f***ing neck, my f***ing neck, my f***ing neck, my f***ing neck.
Also, Michael Sidgwick, I don't know why I'm so in front on the swear counter.
What? Kiss my ass and suck my cack.
The only reason why Roddy's so comfortable with the title is because he's got the big lugs behind him, and and because Ospreay's retired the Tiger Drive in '91. He's done this move on people he loves and respects. He doesn't respect Strong. You want to play this game? You sure? And Strong says, "That's the smartest thing you've ever said." You're talent in the ring. You're dumb as dirt outside.
Dumb as dirt.
That was good.
It's about time we got here in AEW with this. Good stuff.
Now you've got a wife and a child. You think you're all grown up, but no, you're still a child. You don't deserve this title. I overcame something really traumatic in my life, a neck injury. I don't quit. I work for this. I don't care who you think you are. I know who you are. You're a child. And Will fires back saying, Strong's going to learn humility. He's going to take the one thing that makes Strong important. He can't badmouth him like he used to do in Ring of Honor. He's going to show him at Double or Nothing. He's the best wrestler in the world, and why he is on another level. Good promo, this.
Yeah, it was. The program felt a little bit reduced compared to some of the other stuff on the show. It's all right.
Okay, right. Here's the thing. How difficult is it to present someone as a star? Why was this not in place of that wretched Mally Black Copeland angle? The whole idea, conditioning, focus, profile, this should have happened in the ring.
Yeah. Or at least on the stage.
You cannot. The implication here is that, is there enough time for the consensus best wrestler on the planet on this show? Not really hire him backstage for 3 minutes. No, that's wrong. That's not the way to do things. It isn't. Absolutely isn't. This should have taken place in the ring to just condition and reinforce the idea that Will Ospreay is a focused part of this star, a massive deal who you should be watching every single week.
Did they announce Ospreay for Collision last week on Dynamite, or was that? I don't remember. Us
I can't
previewing
remember.
That. I feel like we didn't preview it. So
No,
I feel
it
like
was a graphic drop.
It was a graphic drop.
You're on Dynamite, gets more viewers than.
No, you're preaching to
by
the
the way,
choir.
Ospreay's coming back.
You're preaching to the choir. There should have been in the goddamn ring, not only on principle, because the idea is you cannot. Like, the insinuation is, Ospreay, I'll put him just towards the backstage. That you cannot, Will Ospreay cannot be the guy that you can't find time for on the show. It's ridiculous, and they've made a big mistake here. It'll feel small, but it'll become big if it keeps going. And the worst thing is I thought, like, they've had to basically, what are you laughing at?
It'll feel small, but it'll become big if you keep going.
All right, okay, like
child.
a cock, like
Yeah.
a cock,
I'm sorry.
like a cock.
When you said
Right,
my
okay.
liquid the other day, I could see his neck muscles, so they would look like they were going to burst out of his body.
He's an absolute tit. the whole idea, right, is that this should have been on
Yes.
live in front of the crowd. And I will say as well, they basically had to tell you their entire shared history, the cross pass on the indies, and Strong thought he was an idiot and a dickhead and whatever, and Ospreay, blah, blah, blah. There's just so much exposition to navigate here, and I thought, like, promo of the year contender, if The Rock wasn't about, Will Ospreay did an awesome job of navigating that, and they felt like, in this moment, two dudes who absolutely hate each other, but we're going to have the fight soon. I can't wait, quite frankly. It should have been a home run in the ring, and it's annoying that it didn't happen in the ring. And, if you just quickly imagine that the camera on me and then the hard camera are two posts, what they've done here is fail to score an open goal.
What is he? What?
Oh! I've hit the post! That's what they did as well.
Yeah.
So they did it on purpose. More accurate than anything. If anything.
I'll have to re-listen/rewatch this later on so I can listen to what Sidgwick was saying, because I was focused entirely on the piece of paper and his hand excited for where this was going.
Yeah.
And it went to there.
It went right there. It went right there.
We need bit, by the way, goals.
Like a put a hoop behind you. And that's why Will Ospreay's got to catch you on the flip to go in.
It's like playing games, man.
Yeah.
It's behind me, innit?
Anything else you want to say about this?
Nah.
Well, let's get to the contract signing between Willow Nightingale and Mercedes. Can we do this? When I get taken down on YouTube? Yeah, Mercedes.
Money.
CEO.
Money.
Renee's in the ring, introduces both of them. Willow tells Stokely and Statlander to... She's got this. They leave. Paquette says there's so much history between the two of you. Also, it's the in-ring debut of Mercedes at Double or Nothing. Willow signs the contract first. Before she does, though, she says, I respect you, Mercedes. I respect all that you've done, but you need to know about this. Well, I want to know about you, sorry. Do you respect this title? This is the TBS title. This is a title that celebrates the legacy of professional wrestling, a legacy that takes over 50 years on this very channel, a legacy built on fighting, on hard work, dedication, defending, something that every woman that has held the title represents, including my friend Chris Statlander. Now I'm the face of TBS. The smiling face, this smiling face. Every time I walk down, you see Nothing Matters smiling on my Titantron.
The famous TBS Titantron.
Yep.
50 years.
Because through all the doom and gloom, she always looks for something to smile for. Wrestling is her strength, and this title is what matters to me. Through it all, I'm not going to let you walk in and take that away. Not now, not at Double or Nothing, never. She signs the contract, and Mercedes grabs the mic and says, Everett! Brings up 2015.
Oh, God.
Well, she's dead. That was good.
She talks about, whilst you were training, I was changing the game. I've broken down doors. I've kicked down glass ceilings. Doesn't make sense. Willow wouldn't be here without me. I respect you, but
Right, toneless timey.
there's people in glass houses shouldn't kick. There's a difference between being great and being the greatest of all time. As for the face of TBS, you're looking at the new face of TBS. I'm on the red carpets. I'm sitting courtside. I'm throwing out the first pitch at baseball games. I know that the best part of your career was beating me, but at Double or Nothing, you losing to me will be the best thing to ever happen to you, because my legacy is all about winning. Willow has a nice firing back after she signs the contract, saying, just remember the last time we wrestled, I walked away as champion and you didn't walk out at all. And Mercedes slaps her and they try for the title shot, but Willow ducks that and slams her through the table.
You think, all right, someone got powerbombed at last on Dynamite, on a contract signing segment. End times are here. No, they're not. I thought this was really strong. Finally, oh God, I'm allowed to love to hate Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
And now I feel like this has to be. She's a heel now, and it's great. And they've slowly stumbled upon, this is the plan all along. Bit weird. Surely you'd get a year out of Mercedes Moné as the superstar babyface, but whatever. I don't think it is. But they've pivoted, it would look like. Yeah. I thought the content of this, while, a bit exposition heavy, it always is. Previously in wrestling, the idea that Mercedes Moné deems herself better than the spiritual home of professional wrestling is really, really strong material. And look, the idea of a contract signing, it is not this only WWE can do this and it must mean the worst thing in the world. The idea of a contract signing is that you are just telling your audience that this match is more important than most, hence why it gets a set dressing. There's nothing fundamentally or inherently wrong with it. And this has quietly become one of the biggest women's matches in AEW history. They've finally got the dynamics right. I'm delighted with all of this.
Yeah, it's earned that, I think, mostly through the strength of Willow Nightingale's promos. She has been fantastic. If you like every sort of like the last week one, especially because the gulf in quality between hers and Mercedes last week. But this week they were both great. But Willow Nightingale is nailing this.
And now you're allowed to properly think.
It is a pivot, isn't it? It can feel like but good. Like there's nothing wrong with the pivot. Better that than forcing through bad creative and trying to make it work. Love the idea that like she's dropping in my friend Chris Statlander.
Can't wait for it to be a prick in the match.
Yeah.
Nothing hits harder in wrestling, or very few things hit harder than Mercedes Moné being a prick in the middle of a match. It's amazing.
Her heel charisma's next level, isn't it? And you're going to see that, which is great. Like, and I mean that in every sense as well, next level. Willow is moving to the next level by virtue of this feud she's having. The mention of Chris Statlander, my friend, an ex-champion, they're leaving that there. There's going to be a turn forthcoming between those two because you assume Mercedes Moné is going to win the title, and then it's like, well, what have we got next for Willow? This makes you feel comfortable that there is something next because she absolutely deserves it. And of course, that means more programs for the women and more matches. And so this, actually, the big picture, the big promise of the Mercedes Moné signing was that like this is going to open this division out, and maybe that is actually happening. And just that little moment of like just one big bump from Mercedes Moné has undone so many terrible weeks of promos because this was a big bump, and you're like, this feels great.
Yeah,
she's going to be back in the ring in a couple of weeks. Like, that has been missing, and everybody said it, but it hasn't made it any less true. So I thought this was a really successful segment for these two.
Main event time, Kazuchika Okada versus Dax Harwood for the Continental title. Harwood quickly goes for a sharpshooter early on, but Okada scurries to the outside to regroup. Stiff chops, obviously. But Okada puts on the brakes to avoid a backdrop and posts Harwood as we go to a break. When we come back, Harwood dodges a corner charge. It's a spine buster. They're both down. Okada meets him in the corner, drop kicks him to the outside, hits a running boot against that LED screen, and a draping DDT off the barricade that almost counts out Dax Harwood. He just breaks the count at 9. Okada wants a Rainmaker, but Harwood collapses, so he tries again. This time, Harwood ducks and fires off some suplexes. They trade big shots. Harwood hits a dragon suplex. Tries again for the sharpshooter. Okada kicks out of that, though. Harwood manages to fight off a tombstone, wants a pile driver, but there's an air raid crash neck breaker for a 2 from Okada. Takes too long, though, to go up top for his big elbow, and Harwood cuts him off. Superplex. They're trading shots on their knees and forearms and chops and what have you. Okada tries a discus lariat, but Harwood connects first. Tries that bounce back powerbomb, but Okada floats over that, and they trade some more near falls. Harwood hits a tombstone for a really close 2 count. Goes up top, though. Misses the head, but Okada wants the Rainmaker. Harwood gets out of it. Sweeps his legs. Goes for a sharpshooter. Gets it, but Okada easily gets the ropes. Goes to the floor. Gets the belt. Throws it back in, and he's getting back. Harwood's throat goes after him and throws him back in the ring, but Bryce is busying himself with getting the title out of the ring, and Okada kicks the ropes as Harwood is going through, hits a Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3.
I thought it was really strong. Really, really enjoyed it as well. It's a sort of match that you cannot... This is like, I know there's an AEW style and blah, 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 blah. Like between Dax Harwood selling, which I thought was tremendous, and Okada's ability to dictate the pace, burn it slow, and to just have the demeanor is this sort of just unbeatable demigod of pro wrestling. Like this, I mean, you can't criticize this as being an AEW match. It was just something completely different. I thought Dax Harwood has got this thing where, in my opinion, he might like to put himself, this is just speculation, he might like to put himself forward to lose singles matches just because he likes wrestling and being on telly and all the rest of it. He kind of has no goddamn right to come close at this point to, he might beat Okada here. That's pinfall exchange. While not quite as good as Pac and Okada at Dynasty, was a really, 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 really well done sequence. Like, I don't think this will be the best match that Dax or Okada's ever had when all's said and done, but I had a really good time with it. And I genuinely think that Okada's slow burn approach is so refreshing in the context of cable TV, where you see so much bang, 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 go, go, go. I had a really good time with this, but the post-match and what it promises was even more fabulous.
Yeah, I have very little to add on the match other than, like, this was one of those...
Like Dax Harwood, sorry, one more thing, did a really... You know how there's no such thing as selflessness in wrestling, because it's like, look how good I made you.
Yeah.
I did think he did a really, really good job of balancing that by making Okada's offense look like that's really hurt him.
Yeah, and that's how an Okada TV match has to work, because if he does slow it down or pick his spots, those have got to hit harder, haven't they?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would be putting more stuff in. Yeah, like the Where the Best Wrestle tagline is a great tagline, because it does, in theory, sum up what AEW should put forth. But the problem with the tagline inherently in wrestling is that you're telling and not showing. So the more you can show it without needing to tell it, the better. And this was a perfect Dynamite main event in that respect. Not too much, not too little, just right.
But as you alluded to, Sid, it was all about the post-match, because the Elite hit the ring, jump on Harwood. Obviously, you're not allowed Continental title. No one's allowed at ringside. They immediately slide in, beat him up, or just batter Dax Harwood even more post-match. Danielson and Cash Wheeler sprint out to try and make the save, but it's 4-on-3. That's the teams for Anarchy in the Arena. And you're sat there thinking, who's going to be the final man? And then Darby Allin's music hits.
Oh, my God.
He appears behind the Elite, smashes them with his skateboard. Allin and Perry brawl. Crowd are loving this, of course, and then they flash up the graphic. He is the 4th man on Team AEW, and he helps FTR and Danielson clear the ring and close the show.
Like, super, super inspired, out of nowhere. I thought his foot looked mangled. I wasn't expecting to see him for ages. From Washington, and you got that rule of 3, of Danielson in the opener, then the top of the hour, you get Swerve, and then the third Seattle guy is like, Darby! Darby Allin, if you really like, there's not one original. There wasn't one original. Eddie Kingston, for all intents and purposes, was, because it was really quite early into the lifespan that he came into AEW. But
he's kind of subsumed Cody's legacy with that as well, isn't he? Yeah.
So it's probably good that there's one who's been there the whole time. And Darby Allin, in addition, right, to he's going to go crazy in that match to the point where I'm going to be scared for his well-being. Perfect. You want to be scared for someone's well-being in a match as violent as that. He's the perfect guy. The creativity, I think it could be special with him in it. An already great match that's got the highest floor of any gimmick match in wrestling currently. I'm sorry. It could become something truly special with him in it. Like, I'm genuinely really excited. Another thing about Darby is that he's the guy who said, I won't even negotiate with WWE. I just don't want to. This is what I want to do. I can be who I want to be here. He's like the one person who can do the Tommy Dreamer thing, or one of the very few. Like, he's done it the whole time. And he can I just believe it out of him. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, I don't cringe as much when he does it. So realistically, this has enhanced immeasurably my emotional investment in this Anarchy in the Arena match. Beyond perfect, 7-star booking masterstroke. And the thing is as well, it's that old principle of, I'm gutted that Kingston can't make it. I really am. And, if he can make it back in time, I would put Cutler in it just to get Kingston in it because he's amazing in this environment. But you're meant to go one better for the replacement. And God damn it, Darby Allin, with the character and the way he approaches matches like this, they found the one better.
Yeah, I agree. That's it. I think that was the challenge, wasn't it, with Kingston, is that it was like he's so beloved that you weren't necessarily thinking of the match quality difference. You were thinking about like the personality.
Yeah.
Like, we can't get the gas can, we can't get the Brian moment, whatever there was going to be constructed around that. So no matter who goes in the match, great. Like, Danny Garcia, terrific babyface, great wrestler, but it would just be like, and there was nothing they could do about that. No, Darby, this has taken this to a different level for all the points Sidgwick has made, even to the point where I think we might have just stumbled across what's going to be our running entrance music that keeps playing. Darby Allin's is probably the best to have as the soundtrack to the Carnage if you want to do that bit. He arrives last on a frigging skateboard with jetpacks on it. Like, oh my God, it's the biggest skateboard than ever. Like, the man's concussed himself getting excited watching this match. Yes. Banged his head on one of them Dax suplex spots.
If he's in the match, we should say.
Like, not giving a shit the amount Darby Allin does is exactly what this match probably needed to no longer feel like it's me, Anarchy in the Arena time. He takes it right back to that 2022 feeling. So in every respect, with the greatest respect to Eddie Kingston, quite a significant upgrade mentally all of a sudden.
I won't tell you who I was afraid it was going to be because it's just harsh at this point.
Right, yeah.
Tell me afterwards.
Yeah, of course.
Well, let us know your thoughts and your guesses on that in the comment section below or on X at WhatCultureWWE. Well, actually, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow our brilliant producer at It's Adam Nicholas. And follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Me and Hamflett answering some of your burning wrestling questions coming out as a podcast a little bit later on today. And me and Sidge will be back tomorrow to preview AEW Collision.
Got taped. We'll see.
Been taped?
I think it gets taped tonight.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Sort of. Tomorrow, let us know your thoughts on everything in the comments, though, as I said. For now, though, this has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.